Welcome back to ISIS Talk. Let's talk about femicides. A word that I didn't even know was a thing until a few weeks ago. So I was scrolling on Instagram and I was looking at people's stories, and a bunch of girls had posted, black and white pictures of themselves, and they're like, pass on the challenge. And at first I thought we were starting these challenges again, because I know at the beginning of quarantine, every single day there was a new challenge. I couldn't keep up, so I was kind of hoping that we weren't starting this all over again. But after doing some research, I realized it was to raise awareness about something that's seriously going on, not only in Turkey, but in Mexico. And it's probably happening all over the world, but I'm just, only given the information about these two countries. Now, what is a femicide? A femicide is basically a term used for the masses of women who are abused and murdered at the hands of their partners, according to the World Health Organization. Now, let's start with Turkey. Outrage sparked in Turkey because of the recent murder of Turkish student Pinar Gu. Now, she was a 27-year-old woman who was reportedly beaten, strangled to death, and then her corpse was torched in a garbage can and covered in concrete. I'm sorry, is this an episode of Criminal Minds? How did this happen? Why would you ever do that? You watch Criminal Minds, you watch all the sick things happen, and then you leave it on Netflix. Don't bring it to reality. But then some sick people in this world bring it to reality. Like Avci, Cemal Metin Avci. He was a 32-year-old Turkish bartender. In this case, he's our unsub. And why did he kill this girl? We don't even need a reason. There's no reason to hurt someone, let alone murder someone, for any reason. Let justice take care of them if they really hurt your heart that much. Now, activists claim that the government has done little to prevent violence against women, and they have taken few measures to protect them, which makes sense because in 2019 alone, 474 women were murdered, mostly by partners and relatives, and this is the highest rate in a decade. So, I don't think there's any actions being done to protect these women. An example I would like to bring up that happened in 2019 was the death of Ingrid Escamill. She was murdered in front of her 10-year-old daughter by her husband. But something that's interesting is she went to the police station only half an hour ago before she was murdered, and she reported that many times she felt her life was in danger. But the police didn't believe her, so she went back home. She was murdered in front of her 10-year-old daughter. A lot of people think that if the Istanbul Convention was implemented fully, she would still be alive today. And basically, the Istanbul Convention basically focuses on preventing domestic violence, prosecuting accused offenders, and protecting victims. Now, women in Turkey are still demanding effective implementation of the convention, but it hasn't been implemented to this day. Lots of people predict that the femicide rate in 2020 is expected to be even higher because of coronavirus lockdowns, and this pretty much makes a lot of sense because if you're stuck in a house with someone that's abusive and there's literally nowhere else you can go because of coronavirus, someone's probably going to get hurt, and worse, someone's probably going to get murdered. Now, here's something that it's crazy. In 1 month alone, July 2020, 36 women, at least, were killed by men in Turkey. 11 were killed by their husbands, 5 by their male partners, 5 by men they knew, 4 by ex-husbands, 2 by former partners, 2 by their fathers, 2 by their sons, and 2 by other relatives. And it's still unknown who killed 3 of the 36 women that were murdered. Now, for what? Why? Why would you do it? Now, this is why they did it. 5 of the women were killed because of financial reasons, because that's a good reason to kill someone, yes. While 13 others were murdered because they wanted to divorce or separate, or because they rejected men, that's a good one, or because they wanted to decide their own lives. Why would they do that? Why would they? What? No. The men over there just said no. You cannot do that. You cannot reject me. You cannot divorce me. And you definitely cannot choose your own life. So, for those reasons, women were killed. 36 women were killed. Those were the reasons. As society is progressing, women are demanding modern rights in this conservative Islamic country. And a way you can help is by raising awareness, like I am, just telling people what's going on, and also offering your unity to the Turkish women who are just taking a stand against domestic violence, as they should. Lots of people have already helped by, taking part in that Women Supporting Women challenge because they've already drawn awareness to this issue. And that's really how I found this whole topic. Another way you can help is by signing a petition that will be in my description that demands that the Turkish President Erdogan take legislative steps to repeal abusive laws in Turkey. Now, I thought this was really funny because this is the same president who is turning a blind eye to the problems happening in China. He's not even paying attention to the Uyghur Muslims that are being mistreated in these concentration camps, literally a repeat of the Holocaust. And he's not even helping the women who in his own country who are going through a femicide. So my question is, what is he doing? He really needs to pick a struggle and enact some real change. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I heard that, the femicide was going on in Turkey, I was like, wow, that's horrible. But at least it's only there. Literally a few days later, I go on Instagram. I'm thinking people are still posting about what's going on in Turkey. And then the same thing is happening in Mexico. Now, going to Mexico on February 9th, 25-year-old former beauty queen Ingrid Escamill was allegedly stabbed to death and dismembered by her boyfriend in Mexico Vallejo neighborhood. And then 1 week later, a 7-year-old girl named Fatima disappeared in nearby Chachimilco, where she was waiting to be picked up from school. Her body was found wrapped in a plastic bag. A 7-year-old. Now, here are some facts that come out of Mexico. 25-year-old is the usual age for women to be killed, but the oldest to be killed was 80 years old, and the youngest was 1-year-old. Also, just last month, 103 women were killed. 103 women were killed. 36 were killed at home, 60 in public, and 1 at her job. Among the countries with the highest rates of femicide in the world, 14 are in Latin America and the Caribbean region, according to the UN. Now, in 2019, there were 1,006 reported incidents of femicide in Mexico. That is a 10% increase from 2018. In the first 4 months of 2020, nearly 1,000 women and girls were killed. And in April alone, 267 women were murdered. That is the deadliest month in the last 5 years in Mexico. Violence against women has soared since the COVID-19 pandemic, and this confirms the fears that lockdowns would put many women in danger. Again, going back to Turkey, they said the same thing. When women are stuck in a house with someone that's maybe abusive or they're alone and they really can't go anywhere else, their life could be in danger. Now, like many nations, Mexico has a long and sad history of violence against women. In the 1990s and early 2000s, the murder of around 400 girls and women in Ciudad Juarez shed light on this crisis. A top official in Mexico vowed last year to make the issue of violence against women a priority for the government, but many women feel that the president, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, has brushed off the crisis. In reference to the 26,171 people who called the country's emergency call center in March about violent incidents against women, Lopez Obrador said 90% of those calls were fake. He said that they were fake. He said that these victims were not telling the truth. And when asked directly about the high number of killings of women in Mexico, he said it had been manipulated a lot in the media. He then went on to blame the femicide on the neoliberal model, according to the New York Times. So what do you do when the president doesn't even acknowledge the problem, and then the cops don't protect you as well? Just like the cop that made a female citizen give him her personal information, then raped her. And right now, authorities are protecting him. Women are banding together, calling for accountability and change. On International Women's Day in March, thousands of protesters flooded the streets for a national strike against gender-based violence. It was posted on social media using lots of hashtags, and this strike was the latest step in the country's fight against the abuse of women. Now, that's all the information I have for you today. There's probably so much more information out there, and you guys can go dig into that and learn more about what's going on in the world, which I heavily advise, but again, I just wanted to update people and bring light to this topic because this one issue is just popping up all over the world. And it really needs to stop because there's no reason to take a group and just keep them under and mistreat them and then expect them not to backlash and not to protest. So I really hope that you guys take this information and really use it in a positive way. Tell other people, recommend this podcast if they don't want to do the research themselves. And yeah, thank you for listening. I had fun recording this podcast and hope you guys have a great day.